It was a sunny morning in Numerville, and everything seemed perfectly normal. The streets were busy with people going about their day, and the city's famous clock tower stood tall in the center of town. However, something unusual was happening, something no one could explain. The numbers were disappearing. Emma, a young detective, was having a quiet breakfast when she received an urgent call from the mayor. "Emma, you need to come to the town square immediately," the mayor said in a panicked voice. "Something strange is happening." "The numbers are missing." Emma was intrigued. "What do you mean, the numbers are missing?" she asked, already getting dressed and grabbing her detective kit. "The numbers on the clock tower, the addresses on the buildings, even the numbers on the bus signs, they've all vanished." The mayor explained. Emma quickly made her way to the town square. As she arrived, she noticed that the large clock tower, which had always been a landmark of the city, was no longer showing the time. The numbers were gone. Only blank spaces remained where the numbers used to be. "That's strange," Emma thought to herself. "How could this happen, and why now?" She looked around and saw people gathered near the clock tower, confused and worried. One of them, a shopkeeper named Mr. Green, waved to her. "Emma, come here. You need to see this." Emma walked over to Mr. Green's shop, where the number 7 was missing from his store's address. "This is impossible," Mr. Green said, pointing at the blank space where the number used to be. "How can anyone find my shop now?" Emma thought for a moment. "This is more than just a coincidence. Someone is removing the numbers from all over town, and I need to find out why." Emma was determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. After seeing the clock tower and Mr. Green's shop, she knew this was no ordinary case. Something strange was happening, and it was affecting every corner of Numerville. Her first stop was a local cafe. The sign on the door was missing the number 24, which meant it wasn't clear whether the cafe was open 24 hours a day or not. Emma walked inside and saw the barista, a young woman named Lucy, looking frustrated. "Lucy, what's going on here?" Emma asked, glancing at the empty space where the number 24 had once been. Lucy sighed. "It's been like this all morning. People are confused about whether we're open or closed. The number 24 disappeared from our sign, and now we can't properly tell our customers our hours." Emma nodded thoughtfully. "It's not just about the numbers being gone. It's causing real problems for people in town." Lucy looked at her with concern. "What do you think is happening? It's like the numbers are vanishing everywhere." "I'm not sure yet," Emma said, looking around. "But I'm going to find out. Don't worry, Lucy. I'll get to the bottom of this." Just then, something caught Emma's eye. On the counter near the register, she spotted a small piece of paper with a number written on it. 7. Emma picked it up and examined it carefully. "That's strange," she thought. "This is the same number that disappeared from Mr. Green's shop. Could it be a clue?" Lucy noticed Emma holding the paper. "What's that?" "I think it's a clue," Emma said, showing it to Lucy. "It's the number 7, the same number that was missing from Mr. Green's address." "It's too much of a coincidence." Lucy seemed confused. "But how can one little number help you solve this mystery?" Emma smiled. "Every clue counts. If we can figure out who's removing these numbers, we might be able to stop it." She looked at the number again and felt a sudden sense of realization. "I think we need to check other places in town. Maybe we'll find more numbers. Each one might be connected." After a few more questions, Emma left the cafe and walked through the town, stopping to check other signs and buildings. It didn't take long before she found another missing number. This time, it was the number 3 on a house near the town center. Emma made a note of it. As she walked around, Emma started to notice a pattern. Numbers weren't just disappearing randomly, they seemed to be connected. The numbers that were missing all had something in common. They were all part of something larger, a puzzle Emma had yet to fully understand. With a new sense of purpose, Emma set out to gather more clues. She had a feeling that the mystery of the missing numbers was only just beginning. As the sun began to set, casting a soft golden glow over Numerville, Emma felt a growing sense of urgency. The mystery of the disappearing numbers was more complicated than she had originally thought. She had gathered a few clues, but the puzzle was far from complete. She needed to find more information, and the next place on her list was the town's library. The library had always been a quiet and peaceful place, filled with books and knowledge. But when Emma arrived, she was immediately struck by something odd. The entrance to the library, usually marked with the number 11, was now just a blank spot. The number had disappeared. This can't be a coincidence, Emma muttered to herself as she pushed open the door. Inside, the library was bustling with people, but something felt different. People were walking around, confused, looking for the section they needed, but without the numbers on the shelves, they couldn't tell where to go. Emma approached the librarian, Mrs. Roberts, who looked flustered. "Emma, I'm so glad you're here. I don't know what's happening, but the numbers are gone, even the ones on the shelves. How are we supposed to find anything?" Emma nodded sympathetically. "I know it's frustrating, Mrs. Roberts, but don't worry, we'll figure this out. Have you seen anything unusual today? Any clues that could help us understand what's happening?" Mrs. Roberts thought for a moment. "Well, just before the numbers started disappearing, I saw something strange on the shelf by the history section. There was a book, but the title was just a blank space. No letters, no words, nothing. That's odd," Emma said. "Can you show me where this book is?" The librarian led Emma to the history section, where shelves of books usually stood neatly arranged with their titles clearly visible. But today, something was missing. A single book on the middle shelf had no title at all, just a blank cover. "Here it is," Mrs. Roberts said, pointing to the book. Emma reached for the book and opened it. To her surprise, the pages were filled with numbers. But they weren't the usual numbers you would expect in a book. They seemed to be in a random order, scattered throughout the pages. "This is strange," Emma thought, scanning the pages. "It's almost as if someone is leaving a trail of numbers for me to find." Mrs. Roberts looked at the book with confusion. "What does this mean, Emma? Why would someone leave a book with numbers in it?" Emma stared at the numbers, deep in thought. "I don't know yet, but I think this book might be important. We need to find more clues, and this might be the key to solving the mystery." Just as she was about to take the book to investigate further, a loud noise echoed from the back of the library. Emma turned quickly. What was that? The noise came again, this time louder. It sounded like something or someone was moving behind the shelves. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Could this be the person behind the disappearing numbers? With the book in hand and her heart racing, Emma moved cautiously toward the back of the library, ready to face whatever challenge lay ahead. Emma moved quietly through the library, her eyes scanning the shelves, trying to find the source of the strange noises. The book in her hand felt heavier than before, and she couldn't shake the feeling that it was leading her towards something important. She reached the back of the library, where rows of dusty bookshelves towered above her. The noise had stopped, but Emma remained on alert, listening carefully. She slowly walked between the shelves, keeping an eye out for any signs of movement. Then, as if by chance, Emma stopped in front of a large bookshelf at the far end of the library. Her gaze landed on a book that looked almost identical to the one she had just found. It was another blank cover, this time sitting alone on the top shelf. "This can't be a coincidence," she whispered to herself. She reached up and pulled the book down, opening it to the first page. Just like the first one, this book was filled with numbers scattered across the pages, arranged in an unfamiliar sequence. Emma's mind raced. What was the connection between these books? Why were they full of numbers? She flipped through the pages, trying to find any pattern or clue that could help her understand. And then it hit her. The numbers weren't random, they were part of a code. A simple pattern that was easy to miss if you didn't look closely. The numbers in both books were not just isolated, they were connected. The numbers 24, 7, and 3 appeared again, and this time there was a clear order. It seemed like a puzzle waiting to be solved. Emma's heart raced. This is it, she thought. I'm getting closer. Suddenly, the librarian, Mrs. Roberts, appeared beside her, Emma, I found something else. Look. She held up a small piece of paper with another number written on it, 12. Emma took the paper and examined it. This is the same pattern, she said excitedly. We need to keep looking for more numbers. Each one is a part of the code. The two of them spent the next hour going through the library, searching for more missing numbers. They found a few more, 5, 9, and 1. The pattern was becoming clearer, but there was still something missing. Emma could feel it. There was one more clue they needed to uncover, one more piece to complete the puzzle. As they gathered the numbers, Emma noticed something strange. Each time they found a new number, it felt like the library itself was changing. The air seemed to hum with energy, and the shelf shifted ever so slightly, as if responding to the numbers they were collecting. Is it just me, or is the library moving? Emma asked, looking around with wide eyes. Mrs. Roberts looked just as confused. I'm not sure, but it feels like something is happening. Maybe the numbers are leading us somewhere. Emma paused for a moment, considering. I think we're getting close. I can feel it. These numbers are connected to something bigger. Something ... hidden. With renewed determination, Emma tucked the book and the numbers safely in her bag. She had a sense that the final part of the puzzle was near, and she was ready to find it. Emma walked briskly out of the library, her mind racing. She had gathered all the numbers, 24, 7, 3, 12, 5, 9, and 1, but she still didn't understand what they meant. What was the connection? Why had they all disappeared from the town? And what was the purpose of the strange books she had found? As she stood on the steps of the library, a thought struck her. She looked around at the buildings of Numerville. Could the numbers be connected to the city itself? Maybe there was something she hadn't noticed before, something hidden in plain sight. Without wasting any time, Emma made her way down the street, counting the buildings as she walked. Let's see, she thought. Building 24, then Building 7, then Building 3. She paused at the intersection, looking around carefully. The numbers matched the buildings in a strange sequence. Suddenly, it clicked. The numbers, she exclaimed aloud. It's a map. The numbers are guiding me to something. With a new sense of purpose, Emma followed the sequence of numbers, walking down the streets of Numerville. As she passed building after building, she felt a strange pull, as though she was being led towards something important. At building number 5, Emma stopped. She looked up at the old brick wall and noticed something strange, a faint outline, barely visible to the naked eye, etched into the wall. The numbers were arranged in a circle, and in the center was a small keyhole. Emma's heart skipped a beat. This must be it, she whispered. She reached into her bag, pulling out the book with the mysterious numbers. She opened it to the page that contained the number 12 and saw something even more surprising. There was a small drawing of a key. Emma's mind raced. The drawing matched the keyhole on the wall. The numbers and the drawings in the books weren't just clues, they were the key to unlocking the secret. Emma took a deep breath. It was time to solve the final mystery. She turned the book around and noticed something else on the back cover. There was a tiny, hidden compartment. With trembling hands, she opened it, revealing a small, golden key. She held the key in her hand, feeling the weight of it. It felt like the answer to everything, the missing piece of the puzzle. With steady hands, she walked up to the keyhole and inserted the key. There was a soft click, and the wall in front of her slowly began to open, revealing a hidden room inside. The room was dimly lit, filled with old maps, books, and strange artifacts. But the most surprising thing of all was the large number 1 engraved on the floor in the center of the room. Emma stepped forward, her heart racing. This is it, she thought. The final clue. As she knelt down to examine the number, she realized that it was not just a symbol, it was the final missing number, the key to understanding the mystery. All the numbers had led her here, to this hidden room, where the truth about the missing numbers of Numerville was finally revealed. And then, as the walls of the room seemed to pulse with energy, Emma smiled. The mystery was solved, and the missing numbers of Numerville were back where they belonged. Emma stood in the hidden room, gazing at the glowing number 1 on the floor. The mystery of Numerville was finally solved, and the missing numbers had been returned. The air felt lighter now, almost as if the entire town was breathing a sigh of relief. With a smile, Emma turned to Mrs. Roberts, who had followed her into the room. "We did it," Emma said. "The numbers are back, and everything is as it should be." Mrs. Roberts smiled back, proud of Emma's determination. "You've learned a valuable lesson today, Emma. Numbers may seem like simple things, but they hold the key to much more than we realize." Emma nodded, looking around at the room filled with books and maps. "I never thought something as simple as numbers could unlock such a big mystery. I guess it's like learning a new language. It's all about finding the right connections." Mrs. Roberts agreed. "Exactly, and just like numbers, words are the building blocks of communication. The more you learn, the more you can understand the world around you." Emma looked at the books on the shelves, her mind filled with possibilities. "I'm going to keep learning. I want to discover more mysteries, more connections. There's so much to explore." Before they left the room, Emma turned to Mrs. Roberts one last time. "Thank you for helping me. I couldn't have done it without you." "You're welcome, Emma. Remember, every puzzle has its solution, and every mystery has a lesson to teach us." As Emma walked out of the hidden room, she felt a sense of accomplishment. Not only had she solved the mystery of the missing numbers, but she had also learned something much deeper: that knowledge, whether it's about numbers or language, is the key to unlocking new worlds. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. I hope you learned something new today about numbers and the power of learning. If you enjoyed this story and want to continue exploring more mysteries with me, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more fun and educational stories. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.